has a question.
Okay.
Actually, I have a concern. So I have been used actually for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, hybrid role like merchandising and demo as together. So I have some concerns. Like sometimes some stores not in the list.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was in the middle of the store, but still they are not allowing me to check in. And they said like I was not in the I mean around area. So
Yeah.
what I do, like I took the selfie picture in front of the banner and I sent it to my boss, manager, saying that I was in the store, but still, those are the concern I have.
Yeah, so we can address your concerns offline outside of this call because you're in a little bit of a different area of how Repsy is going to function. But in terms of GPS location and stuff like that, I'll touch on how to make sure that it's always close to being updated. So at least I can cover that. But anything in terms of like how you're going to manage Repsly, it'll be a little bit different. So we'll go through Repsly and as a function and how to use it. But then for you, it might be a little bit different in terms of how you're going to navigate. Nick, myself, and Ryan are going to work through some of those opportunities and figure out how do we make sure that your experience is fairly seamless.
Sure.
Cool. There's a lot of people on the call, but I figured I'll do a quick introduction for myself, and then I'll introduce Ryan as well on my team, and then we'll get the ball rolling here. So I'm Dill, Director of Training / Analytics. So I support the broader business as a whole from all facets, and then also support all of our programs, and sometimes from an operations perspective. So Ryan and I work very closely on that to support anything from a systems implementation, integrations, anything around that space area. And so we pretty much manage everything from a back-end perspective. I've been with Match in this turn for 2 years, but I used to be a part of Match 10 years ago, supporting other aspects of the business. Throw it over to Ryan.
Sure. Thanks, Dill. Pretty much the same as Dill, almost. Now they've been working for each other for a couple of years now. But yeah,
he does more work than I do.
That's the only difference right there. Same job description, but more work. Anyways, yeah, I've been with Match for almost 9 years now, I believe. So working with some of our clients like Nespresso and LG and whatnot, but I head up the analyst team. Yeah, anything to do with reporting dashboards, reporting infrastructure, things of this nature is where I'm at.
Right, awesome. So I'll start going through a session. Ryan will jump in and out if there's any opportunities or things like that. But essentially, I'll do an introduction around Repsly a little bit. So Repsly is a tool that we implemented. We were in implementation for about a year. And so the tool is basically how we capture field insights and field intel, and we build reporting off of it. So any insights, any KPIs, anything like that get measured out of Repsly as a platform. And so working with Nespresso, they've provided us some KPIs, some call report questions, things like that, which you'll be responsible for completing as you're in it. And so Repsly is a mobile device-based application. There's no web interface. It is literally a device. And so there's a couple of things that happen with it. So obviously right now, some of you may have had accounts like Big Ashraf and Elite. You have accounts in other environments as well. We've just stood up a separate environment specifically for this team, so TSR merchandising. And so come Wednesday, you should be logging in and you'll be in a different environment. It'll look fresh. It won't have anything in it. In some cases, I'll show you what it looks like. When you're going to log in, it'll ask you which environment you want to log into. And basically, if you don't see that, that's also a good thing. If you do see that, that's also a good thing. But I'll let you know what to do come Wednesday. So we just got to work through some of those things and make sure that you're comfortable. And then again, come Wednesday, if you have questions or you don't have access to the right infrastructure or things like that, send an email to the analytics inbox, which is analytics@matchretail.com. And someone from the team will troubleshoot and figure out what the issue is. But you should have access come Wednesday and be able to start using it on a day-to-day basis for anything you do from a field perspective. So I'm going to share my screen from my phone here, and I'll log into the Repsly application. Okay, so Repsly is an app. Has everyone downloaded the Repsly app? Everyone has it? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I had a quick question.
Sure.
The login credentials are already available, or do we wait for those? Or
So come Tuesday, you will receive an email which
okay,
is asking you to reset your password. And so essentially at that time, so I'll probably kick it out first thing Tuesday morning, or Ryan, someone will kick it out first thing Tuesday morning. And you just reset your password and that'll be your credentials. Your credentials will be your Match Retail email addresses and then whatever password you set up from that point onwards. So a leak, for example, you originally had a different email address. It's been changed to your @Match Retail email address. So moving forward, you'll have to log in using your @Match Retail email. Your password's still the same.
sure. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So this is what the Android application looks like. There are frequent updates that do happen. So the first recommendation is always making sure that you always make sure that you have the most recent app version available. And so if you're launching the app for the first time, whether you're on iOS or Android, it's going to ask you for permissions. So for example, GPS, being able to use your phone, certain things, you're going to allow all permissions. And some of the things that, depending on the device you have, there's certain things that you have to make sure that you do. So whether you're on iOS or Android, from a permissions perspective, you have to allow precise location. So in this case, when you go into the app permissions, you look at location, you're setting it to allow all the time and use precision, use precise location. iOS will represent this a little bit differently, but ultimately same application, same settings. So you want to make sure that you're setting it up this way. So that way, one, it solves your coordinates and allows you to check in and out of locations. Now, devices, GPS on phones, it's dependent on your cellular connection. So if you're in an area where there's low coverage or poor reception, you may not always have the option, or it may not refresh your location as accurately. So there are contingencies in place to allow you to still be able to check into a location, and we'll touch on that a little bit as well. But ultimately, you need to make sure you have your data turned on, your permissions are allowed for the Repsly application, and you're basically going in from there. So let me just switch my credentials here. So when you log in for the Repsly app first time, it's going to allow you to sign in. So in this case, you see how there's 3 separate environments it's asking me for. So what I'd like everyone to do is if you log in on Wednesday and you get this menu, I'd like you to send an email to the analytics inbox letting us know that you have more than one option. Alik, you're an exception. Nick, you're an exception. For anyone that's a TSR merchandiser, it's more geared towards you. If you don't get this and it logs you in right away, that's okay too. Then you don't have to send us an email.
So I think we have a question in the chat, Fernando.
Yes, Fernando.
My question is like was it for the other app last time? I don't have access. I put my credential, but I say you have to contact the match because I don't exist there. So
That's okay. Let me just take a quick peek here. Just remind me at the end of this call to take a look for
yeah,
you.
sure, we can do
I'm
after.
pretty sure
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we've created your profile. It's just not active because everyone's profiles should become active come Wednesday.
Okay, no problem.
So when you log in for the first time, it's going to synchronize. It's going to do everything like this, and you're probably going to get something like this, right? Which is basically if it's a brand new profile, brand new environment, there's no activity in it, you've never used it before. So that's good. And then basically you can go in and you'll see some settings in here. Where if you go into the menu, you'll be able to see some settings where you can go into here. You can adjust some of these settings, like language preference, for example. So if you're in Quebec or your preferred language is French, you just go into the language settings and you can change it to French or any other language that you're more comfortable with that is in here. Once you change the language, you basically just sign out of the application and log back in, and it'll change your language to French, Spanish, whatever your preference is. There is a file section in here. Over time, you'll start to see some files that get uploaded into here. So it could be things like planograms or things like that. We haven't defined what the use case is going to be yet for this environment, but ultimately, if anybody needs to share files from a head office perspective, this is one way we'll share files from here. So you'll be able to access files out of here. So that's pretty straightforward. So going back to how you're going to use Repsly. So now that you've logged in, the first step of using Repsly at any point is starting your workday. So the best thing to do is start your workday before you leave home. So as you're jumping into your car, getting ready for your day, or even if you're at a home office drinking coffee, you just kind of start your workday. And it's going to ask you, do you want to start your workday? You click on start. And so that's going to now open up all the functionalities within Repsly. So now it's going to track your time, your mileage, all that kind of stuff within the platform. So that takes care of it on its own. Now, what happens is you have to schedule your visits for that day. Now, you can schedule visits ahead of time too. Like if you wanted to schedule visits for the rest of the week, you could do that ahead of time. So you didn't do that daily. But I know some of you have, pivoting priorities on a daily basis. Like sometimes you get calls, you have to go to a different store, things like that. So you have all that flexibility. But if you wanted to schedule visits in advance, you can do that. So the way you start to schedule visits is you click on the schedule button at the bottom and you'll see a plus icon. If you're not seeing a plus icon, please send an email. We'll get that provision for you, but you should see a plus icon. And so when you click on plus, it'll open up, it'll tell you to schedule a new visit, and you're going to start searching for the location. So in this case, I could do like Costco, and it's going to give me everything from Costco, or I could search for a specific store location by address. So let's use something like 25 PL Center Drive. We'll use Best Buy. You'll see a ton of store locations. Not all of them are specific to Nespresso. We just have a giant store database, which allows us to pull information from. So you'll see Costco inline, you'll start seeing. So I want to schedule, for example, a visit for the Best Buy 930 in Oakville and on 2500 Winston Park. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to populate the address. It's going to do everything there. Here, you can either schedule a visit for today. I'm going to do it for today, but if you wanted to schedule the visit, we'll do a couple schedules here. So I'm going to schedule a visit for next Wednesday, and you can set a specific due date. My recommendation is not to do it. The reason why is what it does, it locks it in for a specific period of time where you want some flexibility a little bit. Looks like my screen froze, I think. I'm watching my screen. It seems to be freezing on Teams a little bit, but that's okay. So we're going to schedule a visit for today, set it to any time, and does not repeat. So this is essentially the settings you want to have. Once you save it, we'll come back to this route optimization piece after. So now it shows you for today, you have 0 out of 1 visits scheduled. Right, so that means you can have a series of visits. So I can go in, I can add another one, and let's do. Ryan, do you have a store number off the top of your head?
I wish I did.
All right, let's do Shoppers Drug Mart, Broadway. No, maybe. Okay. Sure, we'll do Shoppers World Canadian Tire. And I'm going to do that for today as well. So now you see I have 2 visits to complete for today. So this is how you schedule your visits for the day. Pretty straightforward. Now, when you get to the store location, you basically go, so well, it doesn't have to be in order. You can restructure these however you want it. Just because Best Buy is first doesn't mean you have to visit Best Buy first. This is just going to create a list of stores that you're going to visit for the day. Now, what we recommend doing is if you have multiple store visits, Ellie, I'll come back to your question in 1 second, is always doing a route optimization. So the way you do route optimization is once you have all your stores loaded, you click on the map on the top right, and basically it's going to optimize based on your distance, right? So I'm located in Orangeville, so it's telling me the better way to do this is going to be that. So I'm going to optimize it either based on visit time or visit distance. Because we're not scheduling the visits for a specific time of day, you're going to optimize by distance, and it's going to say based on my current location, So where I'm in Orangeville, and so now it's going to say, okay, my starting point is this. So my first store should be Brampton, which is Shoppers World, then Oakville, and then back home, right? So what this is essentially doing for you is that it's allowing you to optimize based on drive time, traffic patterns, all that kind of stuff. We recommend this just because it makes your life easier, so you don't have to worry about. So you could add like 10 different locations and then just optimize it, and it's always going to figure out the best way to get there and then bring you back home. Makes your life easier, so you don't have to then look at Google Maps and figure out which store am I going to first, etc. Now, obviously, there, you all know better, right? I mean, you use Montreal as an example. There's, construction everywhere, pylons everywhere, not very easy to get around. This will factor some of that in because it is Google Maps based, but once you start driving, it's okay. At the end of the day, your tracking is not based on the route you've mapped out. It's basically where you go. So if you take a detour, whatever you do, that's all factored into your tracking. So you don't have to worry about deviating from a route in any way. Ellie, you had a question?
Yes. So scheduling visits would be only in the case of merch or NCAs also.
This is just for TSR and merch.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So for NCAs, that's done by the field managers.
All right, thank you.
So that's why that's why we've set up a separate environment, because the other environment, there's no self-scheduling enabled. In this environment, everyone's allowed to self-schedule.
Perfect.
Okay, so going in it, so let's just say we went to, Best Buy in Oakville, and we get there, and now I'm ready to check in. So you click on the store, and it's going to give you two options. It's going to give you check-in, and it's going to give you a remote check-in. Now, the way this works essentially is you have to be within a 500-meter radius, which is 0.5 kilometers of the store location, to be able to check in. Now, sometimes GPS coordinates are inaccurate, or for example, we may load the store into the platform, but the GPS pin is not accurately located. So it might bring you to, like, if you think.
Lost you.
Oh, lost them.
Okay. In that case, you would just remote check in. So, Krishnana, you brought up like you couldn't check into the location because it was probably giving you this error where at the bottom it pops up saying you're out of range, you can't check in. That's okay. There's two things we'd like you to do. One is to refresh. So when you're on your schedule section, just refresh the page by swiping down on the screen and then go back in and try to check in. If you still get that error, send us the store location via email after your visit's done at the end of the day, saying, hey, guys, I wasn't able to check into this location. Can you please look at it? And then we'll go back and do an analysis on the back end to figure out what happened. In the meantime, you can do a remote check-in. So a remote check-in basically null and voids any GPS coordinates. So it allows you to do a remote check-in, and now you've checked into the store, and you'll start seeing the timer start going at the bottom, and now it says checkout. So this is basically, now you're in the store. There's a lot of things you can do in here. You can see historical stuff. So if you ever visit a store in the past, it'll show up in your activity history, and you can reference back to previous call reports. So if you ever wanted to go back and look at, like, maybe a store contact or data that you entered from the previous visit, you can reference it there. But in this case, this is a net new location. You also have a contact section. So if you wanted, you'll start seeing like contact information, things like that. As you start to build your store portfolio, like if you have store manager name or all phone numbers or email addresses, you can send them to us and we can update the profiles for you. So that way you have kind of your CRM essentially that goes for every store location. In this case, you want to now look at your call report. So you would click on form and you should only see one of two. Adam, you have a question?
We cannot update the store contacts. We have to contact you guys to do that.
Yeah, because it tailors back to the master store database. So essentially going back to this, so when you want to look up your call report, you click on forms and you should only see one of two. I see both forms. So if you're a TSR, you're only going to see Nespresso TSL call report. If you're a merchandiser, you'll only see merchandising. So you'll only see one report. So you're going to click on your Nespresso TSR call report, and it's going to have a series of questions. So it's going to say, did you set up PSM? Did you clean your section? Did you fill in the section? Did you build a display? Is the planogram complete? Right? So let's go yes, no, Yes, yes. We'll just say yes to everything. And then how many training sessions did you complete today? So we're going to say 5. What topics were covered? So you can enter it, and then any feedback, not applicable. Do you need to complete any win sets? You're going to say no. And then it's going to ask you for visual compliance. Please take one. So stand back photo. So we'll look at this. So if it's the first time you're taking a picture, Rep's going to pop up with asking you for the permission. So I'm going to allow while using app, allow all. And so it'll either let you pick from your gallery or you can take a photo in real time. So in this case, we'll take a small photo real time. And once that's done, you click OK, and it uploads the picture and a brief summary of what that picture is. So we're just going to say test picture. And then once you've completed the call report, always recommend going back, double checking the information you've entered. And at the bottom, it's going to ask you for a signature to complete the call report. Click OK. And then all you do at the top right is click submit form. It's going to ask you to submit. Mine shows submit and send by email. You won't have that option. It'll just give you submit form. Once you click submit, that form has been submitted and you'll see the timestamp and everything there. So it's locked in. It's good to go. Now, once you're done the visit, I'll stop right here. Fernando, you have a question?
Yes, if you don't mind. What happened when we go around visiting the stores? Sometimes we forgot to check in, check out. What's gonna happen then?
So every
Because
store you go
it's
to,
not automatic, and whenever you get there, we check in, check out. Sometimes you start talking with people there, and then you forgot to do it. What happened?
yeah. So even if, so let's just say you get to the store and you have a whole conversation and then you forget to check in, you can still check in at any point. So it's not like you have to check in between a certain period of time. The only way you're able to fill the call report is by checking in. Otherwise, there's no way to fill out the call report. So recommendation is once you pull into the store parking lot, always just open up the app, check in, so you don't have to worry about it. Once you enter the store, you do your thing, go to forms, select your call report, fill it out,
Yeah.
and then basically just once you've completed it, submit it, and then that's that. Now, once you go back to your car, that's when I would recommend checking out.
Yes, that's what we usually do, but
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
As long, mainly we have to check in to let you know we've been there, right? So
yeah, because otherwise,
Yeah.
one, it won't
Yeah.
log it as you visited the store, and then two, you won't have anywhere to put your call report information. So it's always
That's
important
it.
to check in. Now, in this case, let's just say like you already submitted the call report, and then you're like, oh, I forgot, like I forgot to do something or I entered something incorrectly. You can click on the 3 dots where you see the form in the
Yeah.
main section. Click on the 3 dots and you click on edit, and you're able to go back in and change this.
Oh.
If I wanted to change this to 6, right? Because I got one more person on the way out, that's done. What you can't change, for example, is certain questions. So if it's locked, right, it doesn't let you change it. What that means basically is that it's a locked question. So once you answer it, it's locked in. So anything what's editable is pictures and open text and some of these items here. But that's pretty much it. So I've changed this to 6. I'm going to click submit again. And now that's done. It's been edited. It's locked in.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
good to go. You can always keep notes in here. So if you click on notes, I can always put in a note. So Adam, to your question, if you wanted, let's just say on the fly, you were like, hey, I need to put in like the store contact information. I can put it in here, like store manager name. And then I can submit it. And now it saves that note to that store location. So you can always do it that way. And then eventually, if you have a bunch of them, you can always send us an email and we can do a mass update on contact history and everything. But you can always go back and reference the note afterwards or edit it and do things like that. Now, assuming that this visit is completed and you're done, all you do is you click checkout and it's going to say, hey, are you sure you want to check out? You click yes. and that's done. So now it'll automatically bring you to your activities feed, and it'll show you your visit that you just completed. So you'll be able to see this. So it'll also flag it as a remote check-in. And so when audits are happening, we'll always see that these were remote check-ins. So from time to time, someone like Nick will reach out and ask you why it was a remote check-in. If you've already sent an email to the analytics inbox, you can just say, hey, couldn't log in due to GPS coordinates. But this will come up as a flag in the system. So you'll be asked some questions if you are doing a lot of remote check-ins, just because our ultimate goal is to make sure that, one, from a safety and security perspective, we know where you are and when you are. But then also we want to make sure that our mapping is accurate and coordinates are accurate as well. And so now that's done. And so let's just say you go back to your schedule. It's going to show you you've completed 1 out of 2 visits. It's going to show you a green check mark. But now let's just say I couldn't get to the Canadian Tire. I want to do it tomorrow. Just go back into the Canadian Tire, click on the pencil on the top right, and you want to click on, you can either delete the visit completely or you can move it to tomorrow, right? So let's just say I want to edit the visit and I want to move it to tomorrow. So August 1st, click OK. And then I click on save on the top right. And now you can see it's been changed to August 1st, and that's done. So now you only have that 1 visit. So you've completed 1 out of 1 visit. And then you can still pre-schedule for other days as well. So you can do the 1st, you could do as many days as you want. So there's a couple of views within the schedule section. There's a list view, but then you can also do a daily view. You can do a monthly view or a week view. So if you wanted to build out your schedule, if you are able to build your schedule out up in advance, you can do the monthly view and basically have all your schedules in there for the month.
Okay.
Cool. So now I'm going to go back, and because I don't want this visit lingering in here, so we're going to go back and I'm going to delete the visit for tomorrow.
Bill, Adam had a question actually.
Adam, do you have a question, or is it up from before?
Contacts for the store, is that going to be automatically blank for all of them, or the master schedule that, or the store list that you've gotten, does that have the existing store contacts that we put in already?
It won't have existing store contacts in there.
So they're all blank right now.
They're all blank. If you have a list, Nick, do we have a list that has store contact information already?
Yeah, we do. We have a pretty big list that I can send you. It has the soft ID there.
Okay.
I can forward it to you, and you can add it.
If you can flip it to Ryan and myself, we'll see how we can get it incorporated and get all the stores updated with that information.
Okay, sounds good.
If I send you an Excel document that has all my stores and then all of their contacts, would that be helpful?
For sure, yeah. As long as it has
Okay.
if it has the store number.
Okay, is it just
like
the store
Canadian
number
Tire.
you need?
Banner, store number is probably the 2 main things. If you can include the NestSoft IDs, just so we can update those as well, because then eventually you'll be able to search based on NestSoft ID as well.
Yeah, because I have email addresses and phone numbers on an Excel document. So I can just add the NestSoft numbers and then send you that. That'd probably be the
I would
easiest.
say-
I'm sure you also have one, Adam, like an Excel document of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have one, so we can put in one contact, like one primary contact, and then any other additional contacts, put them in the notes section. So if you have anything personal to you that you want to keep there, just put it in the notes section, but we can add in like a singular contact for you.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Ryan, did you have anything?
Yeah, just on that, just to make things easier on everybody, what I would probably try to do is, if a bunch of you guys actually do have, your stores broken out and you've got store contacts that you'd like to get into Repsly, is I'd probably maybe work with Nick, figure out how to get like a master list together, work together to get it all into one sheet so we can just do it at once instead of doing it, because every single time we do this, we need to extract all of the store information out of Repsly, make the changes and do it back in. So just so we don't have to do it a dozen times, we can just do it once. Maybe that would be a good project to work on.
Yeah, that's actually a good call out. Yeah, if you're all okay doing that, it would make it easier for us and probably a lot faster to get this turned around as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So now that we've done all our visits for today, the last thing to do is, once you've done, you're home, you're done, you just click on end day, and it's going to ask you if you want to end your workday, and you click on end day. I'm going to click cancel here for a second, because the way the system works is once you end your workday, you can't restart your workday, right? So it's really important to only end your workday once you're actually done for the day. Now, I've been in field roles, we are all in field roles, and so sometimes you have to do personal things, and that stuff happens, right? And that's okay. So what you want to do to avoid that accumulating or being tagged to your profile, you can pause your workday, right? So if you click on pause, right, basically you just click on OK. Now, basically, any of your movement, time, or whatever you're spending is paused. It's not being factored into your daily totals, nothing like that. And then basically you can go and do your thing. If you need to run a quick errand, do something, this is what the functionality is for. I don't know what's allowed, not allowed within your business. This is just, I'm talking about the Repsly functionality, just to make sure that you do understand that you can pause your workday. However, you will not be able to check into a location unless you start your workday again. So it's really important that once you've done whatever you need to do, if you are doing something when the workday is paused, you come back in, you click on the play button, and it resumes your day. And now you're back on track, right? And now you go do the rest of your visits and do all that stuff. So before I end the workday here, does anyone have any questions on how Repsly works, how to do anything in Repsly?
Pretty simple.
And then Nick, have we shared the user guides with the team yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. If we can share the user guides, it's a large PDF document. Not all of it will be applicable, but it's a good document to have on hand if you ever forget how to do certain things with Repsly. But if you have technical issues, if you have any issues in general with Repsly, or you have questions, you can send it to the analytics inbox, and someone from the team will obviously reach out to you and try to connect and solve issues. We try to make the app experience as seamless as possible, but it is an app and it is technology. It does fail sometimes. So, just, let us know when things aren't working, and we'll do our best to get them resolved. But it's laid out it's designed to be pretty straightforward and pretty simple. One of the things I will show you is, for example, summaries. So if you're ever wanting to look at your own stats, for example, what you've done for the day and things like that, your activity feed will show you that, but your activity feed will show you everything. It'll keep a log of everything. You can go under the menu button and you can look at summary, and it'll kind of give you your own stats, things like that, things you've done, number of visits you've completed, all that kind of stuff. So it's a cool stat to look at if you're ever looking to measure that. But then you can always look at your workday history and things like that. There is a tips and tricks section. If you're ever looking for how do you update your profile picture, or how to improve Android navigation. So there are some tips and tricks in there. If you want to get into there and just do some pleasure reading, you're more than welcome to do that. But that's pretty much the gist of Repsly. The other thing you'll notice is there is a notification section. And so what will happen from time to time as we get the platform up and running and more frequent is if someone has a comment, for example, if you did a visit and, Nick, for example, Fernando, you did a visit at Canadian Tire and Nick wants you to just follow up on something when you go back to that store, Nick can go in and leave a comment, and you'll see a notification here that shows you that Nick left a comment on one of your visits. So you can go in and it could be like, hey, when you go back, can you please take a picture of this on your next visit, for example. So
Perfect.
You'll see those kind of comments that pop up. That's another form of communication that we're deploying within this environment. You probably won't see much utilization around that for the next couple of weeks, but eventually you'll start seeing a lot of that commentary because Nespresso's corporate team will also be in the platform, so they'll start commenting and looking at some of these call reports. And so that way, if they have questions for you or anything like that, obviously you all have relationships, so they'll reach out to you directly. But in the event, they may leverage this as another way to communicate, for example.
Okay.
Awesome. You can always obviously leave the application. You can do anything you want. You always see Repsly kind of running at the top up here. So it's always running. So you can always come back. I mean, that's for Android. iOS, you'll see it kind of there. Leave the application, go into different applications. It's nothing limiting. The only thing I would say is the main thing to remember here is if once you start your workday and if you end your workday, that's it, you're done. There's nothing we can do to unlock that day again for you to be able to go do more visits. So try to end your workday when you're actually done and you're ready to completely disconnect and go do something else. Cool. Any questions? Anything around this?
I have a simple. Sorry.
Reed, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. So in my use of Repsly so far, I've noticed I'm located in Calgary, and I've noticed that like there's not a lot of my Canadian Tire locations specifically. So with this new sort of update, is there going to be more added, or would you like us to like send you directly like the ones that are missing, and then you guys can add them in?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and so this is the store list that was initially provided to us. So if there's stores that are missing, send them over to us. The best thing to do is include the banner, the store number, and the complete address. So, street number, name, city, province, postal code, and we can add the stores in for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Fernando?
Well, I was just curious if my field manager can help me with this app. She knows about it, does she?
Yeah. All the field manager know the app. Leak's very familiar with the app. And so like, if you have questions, I mean, there's a large team that you can reach out to. But yeah, if you want to reach out to the analyst inbox, for example, like you can always send a message there. But your field managers, everyone else is fairly familiar with the app itself.
Perfect. Because my main problem is I cannot sign in. That's
yeah, and that's okay. If you can't sign in, that means we set something up properly, which means right now what I'll do is if there's no other questions, we can stop the recording here. And then I'll just take a minute to go check your backend profile there. But just before we stop the recording, I'm going to end the workday so everyone can see how it looks like. So once I click on end workday, it's going to pop up. It's going to ask if you want to end your workday. Click on end. And so that's it. Now it's locked. So now you'll see at the bottom, there's no start date. There's no end date. Everything is completed. And that's it. Right. And so now after midnight, it resets. You can start your next day if you wanted to start at 12:01 a.m. Hopefully you're not, but 12:01 a.m. is when you can start doing stuff all over again. Okay. Let me stop sharing here. Are there any other questions, or if it's okay, I'll stop the recording and then I'll just look up Fernando's profile individually to make sure we got everything set up for him. Alik, you have a question?
I'm just asking for people who wear two hats. So if they are NCAs and either merch, or TSR, what would be the situation to log in?
So that's something that Nick, myself, and Ryan are currently reviewing.
So
that'll be a little bit of a different environment. They may have to log into two separate environments. We're still working through that part. So once we've got that sorted out, we'll set up a specific call for those individuals so they can understand how that flow is going to work.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I have a concern because last whole week I have been work for like 40 hours, and so to be honest, like I did perfectly whatever instruction what I'm getting from the training and everything.
Yeah.
But yesterday I met my manager, Diana, and we go through our hours and everything. So mostly, I did 8 hours or sometimes more, but